Hey everyone, welcome. Another boring stream where I don't get to the point anytime soon, and I don't know what to do with my subscribers. Okay, let's check if my lights are on. Good enough. We're carrying on with that machine that we worked on yesterday, which was the 2890 or whatever it was, and we've got the high current coming up, even though we've cleaned up the 5-volt generator. So I guess we'll run the thermal camera on it now because everything's cold, so it's a good time to put the thermal camera on. No need to put the bamboo plate down or anything like that. So hey, on stage, it's been a while since I've seen you there. Hey Zoltan, Lettuce, hey Creatures here too. Draco, of course. Shane Stuff, hello. Shane Stuff from Brisbane, girl, Vegas. Whereabouts in Brisbane are you? I used to live down near Milton and then Carindale with me. Although you don't have to give out any of that information, just kind of curious. A Diatom? Aditya? From India? I was going to say that sounds like an Indian name. Hey Jose Arasola, Thunderbird 6 is ready to go. Narangba, is that just after, is that around Yatla? Because I did stay at a bit of a farmyard around that area for a while, just sort of fed the horses and stuff like that, kept things going. Gianos from Scotland. Northside Ferny Grove area. Thomas Wake. Hey, Jason's here. Hey, Jason, this is yours, by the way. And Jeremy from the United States of Trump. Hey, Yamara's here. Whew. Oh, good thing I didn't miss you there. CS is here. I have a lot of niche electronics I want to make schematics for. What's the best way to create? Honestly, just generate them in KiCad or something similar, an EDA program, even Eagle, and then you can export them out of that to various board view formats. GenCAD is the ultimate preferred option at this point, but if you can put it together in KiCad or Eagle or OrCAD or whatever you've got, then usually you can export to something that can be read. Okay. Alright, yep, so we're going to check this. Jason, we had back corrosion on your 5-volt USB section. There were some other areas that we were sorting out. And I thought it might have been okay, but not so much. It still came up and it was just like, nah, I'm going to sit here and chew up, I think it was 90 milliamps or something. I can't remember now. It was last night, my god. Yeah, can't remember anything from 24 hours ago. That's why I have job logs. Assuming I actually put the data into the job logs. That in itself is a challenge sometimes. It's definitely one of the things that I've got to sort out in the workflow assembly that I have around me, is being able to access the keyboard of the computer to put job log information in without interfering. I always clash with something. Something's got to be sacrificed. I'm almost thinking I'm better off with a second machine, maybe on this side, just simply to keep track of my log data. I mean, the log data is all handled on the intraweb. Does anyone use that word anymore? Intraweb? Basically meaning the network that's within my home private network. So I have that database there, and I am going mad here because I just had the little USB-C connector for this board. Hey, Danny Brooks. Uber looks like Northridge made. Oh my, yes. It was. I'm pretty sure that it was actually a strategic move on his part. I mean, I do not doubt for 1 second that he knew very well that this is the sort of reaction he would get, and I think it was actually intended. I can't think of any other thing. It's the sort of strategic move I would expect. It works. You sort of do cash in a little bit of your social credit, but quite frankly, I find these days social credit isn't really worth that much. I was looking at a lot of the responses from his various fan viewers, and it was impressive to see how many just didn't even realize what he had been saying or anything. They'd just see, oh, you know, he knows his business and he's saying it straight and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, for his business, for sure. You know, that discussion at the start rings true for anyone really who's been in business for long enough. I mean, you'll hear me often always say, you've got to be quick for your jobs, you've got to be upfront with your customers, you know, manage their expectations. You know, running a business, it's not something novel or new that he's discovered. And yeah, everything was fine until he segued into the comparison of the sub numbers as if, yeah, that was fun. He was trying to set it up as a metric, the sole metric of which everything should be compared by, sort of a false equivalence, as it were. And so, look, I've got lots of success because I've got these numbers. Meanwhile, Rossman's like got 4 and 4 times as many at least, and then there's plenty of other tech channels that are vastly better. Does that mean that they're better than him? Yeah. Anyway, it's I think it was all very strategic. I'm losing my nut here because I can't find my connector. I had it like mere seconds ago. Lewis still loves me. Yeah, it's debatable. Debatable. Yeah, on stage, it wasn't a good. It was perfectly fine until he decided to denigrate other people. It was like there really wasn't any point for that. He was already in a perfectly good position. Didn't need to denigrate anybody, but for some reason he chose to, and like I said, I suspect that was a strategic move for the sole purpose of getting a reaction, and it worked. Doesn't mean I actually approve of it, the way he did it, but I can look at that and go, you know what, that does work. Exactly, Uber. Yep. At the end of the day, I'm still sitting here with a very long queue that I need to get through. Not 8 weeks worth of queue though. Mine's more like 2. And it's only gotten to that point because of the fact that we had the floods last couple of weeks, the weeks before. And the floods themselves did not slow me down. The problem was that the floods caused a backlog of jobs to come through once the floods have receded. So instead of getting the usual 2 or 3 jobs a day, I ended up with 20 plus jobs just dumped on me, and then of course I'd still get the 2 and 3 a day following that. So it's a little hard to sort of back your way out of that. Fortunately, the iPad went fine this morning. Alright, so we're going to basically just check this to see what's warming up. Yeah. Controversy sells, it certainly does. It works. It's a guaranteed work thing. Like I said, if you're willing to expend a little bit of social credit, then yeah, you can get away with that. And it's the sort of thing that if you have a narcissistic inclination, or you don't tend to have empathetic sort of responses or consider other people's feelings and things like that, then it's very cheap for you to cash in that sort of thing. People like myself, I just can't do it. I can't even shill stuff, even if someone paid me or whatever. I have to genuinely believe in a product, or I just can't fake that stuff. Yeah, the bundle of sticksing, I didn't even get that. I mean, it obviously is some derogatory statement, but it kind of failed on him because it didn't make any sense to me at all. I do know about it now, but at the point, it was pointless. It is interesting to see that my comment is like 200, 300 thumbs up now, and it's sort of riding up the top of the comments. I don't even know, half the people don't even realize who it is. 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Alright. Okay, we've got our infrared up. Here we go. And let's see what gets cooking. Hopefully nothing too critical. It kind of helps if Mr. Daniels plugs in that. Wait, why have I only got 0.8 volts? What's going on there? Now I've got nearly nothing. That makes about as much sense as, well, it just doesn't make any sense. 0.8. Don't you just love it? When nothing. Oh, I think it's because I took that 5-volt regulator off. Still, I would have thought the CC line. Okay, there we go. Okay, is that heat developing there? Let's hope not. We've got 5 watts. This is going to show up. No, that's a terrible place for it to show up. There. That's not what we want to see. Terrible. What multimeter do I use? I use a GW Instax GDM8341, but the on-screen software is something that I've done myself, and I've written a number of different versions of that software for different multimeters. Some people have them, some don't. We're going to take that shield off. That's not looking good. What bothers me is that we're not even flickering. If we were flickering, I think, okay, we've got a short, but we're not flickering, so that is not a good sign. If we're really, really lucky, it'll be a popped cap, but given by the size of it, I would say the heat is coming directly from the PMIC. I guess I may as well lift them all up. Oh, yeah. Hey, Lutak. Yeah, because at least if it's pulsing, you know that the PMIC's functioning, it's doing its job, it's shutting things down, retrying, shutting things down, retrying. But when it just sits there and does that go nowhere stuff, then it does make you worry that you've got a bigger issue at hand. I'm just going to see if I can look at that at an angle. Certainly nothing outwardly jumping up at me. Without pulling up the board view and schematic, I'm just going to check the various test points around the PMIC. Apple at least is nice enough to have given us these test points. And I need to realign the focus of my... Wow, that's severely out. As in my eyeballs are severely out. Oh, that looks a little crisper, I'm sure. Hey, Harold. Okay, let's see. 50, 50, okay, these are chunked phases. 50, 50, wow, they're all chunked. 600. Now there's going to be one or two that are going to be very close to zero, I imagine. 200, 69. I believe this is a slave PMIC. I don't think this is the master PMIC. I could be wrong. Not that it matters, it's all cooking up. 206. It's going to be terrible if the PMIC itself is damaged. $10. Okay, that one might... That's borderline, that one there. It kind of seems funny because if you look at the structure of these, this phase here, or this output, has a similar choice of inductor, similar supporting caps. In fact, it looks like they are combined, or maybe not. No, okay, that's fine. But on this one, we're just on 10 ohms, and on this one, we're on 573. So it sort of infers there could be a fault in one of these two caps. It's a little weird though, because that's a pretty high resistance. But as I've said, I am getting quite a few ceramic caps showing up with anything up to 80 ohms resistance now. Hey, Mr. Seagull. I mean, 10 ohms is still a perfectly acceptable output resistance. It's more just that it looks odd compared to its companion. The caps are actually different though. You notice the ones on the top two, they are a slightly more matte finish, opaque finish, whereas the bottom two are more transparent. You wouldn't know from the top though. So I guess the question is, where does that rail go? Somewhere just here by my thumb. What bothers me though is that this PMIC should shut that down if there's a problem on the output. That's the whole point of them, and it's somewhat the issue that we run into with trying to diagnose or find the shorts on these, is that the PMIC is so quick to shut things down, we don't get to see a thermal signature come up very often. Those two caps in the middle, in fact the three, the more opaque type, they have a slight thermal shine on them, like they've been subjected to some sort of heat, but it's not definitive. But they do look a little toasty, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense in the context of what I'm looking at. Okay, I say we put some power back into it again, and we see what happens. I really need to put that 5-volt regulator back. I thought it might have been at fault last night, but it was not. I mean, I took it off just in case I messed up the reflow, but no, it was fine, it was perfect. Okay, not perfect, it was good enough. There weren't any defects or anything like that. Indeed, gym cam time. Okay, plug this in and see where that heat's coming from in the PMIC area. Ugh, that's not good. It's right on the edge. It's bad, 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 bad. it did look on the other side. That's when I was looking at those caps that were a bit funky. Okay, if we're lucky, it might be one of these little puff caps on the side. If we're really lucky. If we're really lucky, we might get a win. Yeah, ISO test. No, that's PMIC. God, that's annoying. It's not to say that that's not an external fault. It often is. But the trick is tracking it down. You don't need cats to stream. Creature, like I said, feel free to send one. More than happy to work on it. 13. Okay, these are obviously all trunked together. Yeah, I really do not like that because it tells me that it could actually be a failed PMIC. More light. Those are interesting caps. Look at them, they're double height. Alright, bring up the board view schematic, have a look at that area on the PMIC, look at the pins that are in that area, and you might get lucky and find that it runs off to a different section of the board. I don't know if this one has a serialized PMIC or not. They are getting a little bit naughtier and doing that more often. I hope it is not the case. I didn't get around to putting a a proper outline on this one yet. Okay, so I think we're around about here. Yeah. 3VA on. I'd sooner be starting to blame 3VA on. But that doesn't... Actually, yeah, it's showing only 13. That's not right. Or is it? We don't have any diode mode information on this one. .3VA on is very required for... It's essentially it's your sort of baseline rail. If you don't have that, then nothing much is going to happen. Now when I test this, it should come up as 13 ohms or so, I think. Yep, 13 ohms. 13 ohms is a little low for a 3V8, I think. I mean, it's a hefty rail, but I don't think it's that hefty. Okay, just have a look at this one here, and I'd found my other connector and my MagSafe 3. Did I just see more corrosion there? I did. I just saw that. That looks like... You know what? I actually don't even know what that function is. It could almost look like a current sense, but it's not wired quite right for it. But that could be a problem. So I'm just going to pink mark that. And then we'll check on the board view and schematic. If we're lucky, that has 3V8 going to it. Okay, so this is a similar-ish board. Same sort of thing. PMIC up here, probably 3V8 here. I'm going to guess it's 3V8. Just This is a 2442 board. I'm guessing here, just simply because a lot of the time they don't change too much when they go for different sizes. Okay, so there we got 5, yeah, 6, 7, 800. Now I'm going to guess that that is 3V8. And this is the 2098? Yep, 2098. So let's see if my theory is correct, and that's me crashing the microscope camera. Let's see, 2098 schematics. So here we go. Yep, there we go, 3V8. So even this is the 14-inch board, and the other one working on is 16-inch board. But you've got this 0.36, so that is more what I would have expected out of 3V8. But on the other board, we have more like, it would be 0.1. So we have a 3V8 short. And that is why the PMIC is getting cranky, because it's trying to deal with that short. And so, okay, microscope, file, no, wrong file, you idiot. It's hilarious that one of them is 02890 and the other one is 02098. So, yep, thank you very much for making that so not confusing. Okay, so what we wanted to look for, oh yeah, that's right, we were looking for that damaged area, which is actually, I wish I, it's annoying not having the board outline. It's this here, U2332, SPI, AOP, angle, what? What are you? Project support, that means not a lot. Yep. SPI, AOP, angle of something maybe? I'm really not sure what AOP is. Display backlight. Okay, I think that there is lid angle sensor. I could well be wrong, but I have a feeling that's lid angle sensor. So it's probably not going to be our issue. Oh, that's right. We just wanted to see if 3V8 went to it. So we've got 1V2, 1V8. This is a translator. It's basically letting you talk 1V2 to 1V8 back and forth. So it's not going to be our issue, but it is something we need to clean up. Jason, well, I can do that. I just launched 2 of them. Besides, I don't want to use up all my feature possibilities too quick. I've got to have some reason to convince people to upgrade in the future, since I don't do subscriptions. Okay, we're just going to dry scrub this and see what we find. Probably find it's all good. Look at that. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so our issue does lay still with 3V8. Now to find out what it is on the 3V8 that's causing us our grief. What I might do is put that regulator back on. This one here. Make sure that doesn't use anything 3V8. Whoops. Top side, right, there it is. So we got 5 USB, 5. There's no 3V8 on that, that's fine. So I can put that back on and no, I'm not going to be meddling with the fault that we're trying to find. But it'd be nice to get this back on so that if we do solve the fault, it should come up. Now I realise this is chit-chatting a hell of a lot longer than some videos should be. I mean, goodness gracious, it's boring. It's after 10 minutes already and I still haven't solved it. Everybody's gone to sleep. Will your SFW search the PS5? Oh, will my software search the PS5 PDF schematic? It depends. Are you, with the PS5 schematic, if you look at it, are you able to right click or select any of the text on there? If you can, like if you can actually cut paste text out of it, then yes, I will be able to search. If you can't, then it's bitmapped text on there, in which case you can't search it. So Tim Herman's Snotflux. Hey, Lalo Ramos. Okay, yeah, if you can cut and paste it, then yep, Flexboard View will search it. Are you using the ones out of the XZZ torrent dump? As far as I know, that's the only... Well, what am I doing? People are distracting me badly. To make this work a lot better, I need to do this first. We've got rain pounding down on us. No, we've definitely got a board view creature. Definitely got a board view for it. I've seen it. And it works perfectly well. Although all the names on it are somewhat meaningless. They're just generic. Yeah, they're like just N6332. Ah, sorry folks. Thank you. I will work on that as my next project, to make a proximity sensor switch, and I'll have it so that the how could you say, the logic will be, if in schematic view and face next to microscope, transition to microscope view. I don't know how I would be able to do video recording if I didn't already have my existing automated switching. If you have a schematic that actually does map to the board view, then at the very least we can map. I need the other tweezers, there's not enough room between these two. We should be able to start changing the names and mapping them. I am struggling here folks, sorry. Obviously that is not actually reballed yet. Creature, I'm pretty happy with my compass one. It does a pretty good job overall. I've really got to get more practice with Tim's flux here. It vaporizes off a lot cleaner, but it also does seem to vaporize off a little sooner. So when I'm expecting the reball to occur, I've run out of flux. Yeah, creature, you can always smell those suckers. Okay, we're good. It's always in the back of my mind, which is why these things are good for data recovery. I was trying to put some info into PS5 board view, can only do notes and not add. Yeah, I've got to work on the OB data stuff is sort of one of my next big projects. The last few months have been almost entirely taken up with chasing, decoding the XCZ format, things like that. Just unfortunately there's a limit of how much I can get done in a given day. Hey Ed Boss, evening. But yeah, I'm looking forward to when I have the OB data system working a lot smoother, be more of a open system that everybody can add and modify, kind of like wiki-ish without being wiki, of course. Okay, so we've got to chase the 3v8 fault now. And the question is, where is it? Now, my big fear is that the short is in the PMIC. That's definitely a very big fear. The question is, where does it actually come from? And I don't think it's coming from... Yeah, I don't think it's coming from here. Just going to see if I can find it first. On things like 2337, 2338, there's a Renesas chip that does it, but not on this one. Okay, this is 3VA on MPU, so that's going to be coming off the... I bet you that's coming off that shunt resistor. This one here. Yeah, it is. Alright, so one of the easiest ways I can sort this out is to actually pull that shunt resistor and see which side our 13 ohms is. And I have a horrible feeling that it's going to indicate it's on this side. There are caps along the two edges. Seriously? Like as in integrated within the package itself? Geez, that's going to be... I mean, I suppose I can grind them out, but that is such a fragile package. Okay, so we're going to remove that, see which side our short is on. So it doesn't give us too much grief coming up. Some of these shunt resistors can be rather stubborn. And with good reason. Yeah, basically they've got the full current that's got to go through them, so they... I'm not really feeling the power here. Regarding jumpers to make segmenting boards easier for diagnosis, you'll see a lot of PC laptops do that, but they don't use your own resistor typically. They'll just use a couple of little spikes, a couple of pads, and they'll have a solder bridge on them. You'll see them all over, and they will typically, yeah, you'll see them, and they're listed on the board views, usually like little JP or something like that. Alright, okay, I'm going to guess 80% likely it's going to be on the PMIC side. Oh yeah, that was another needless comment. You're working hard, not smart, and it's like, dude, not frickin' YouTube channel. Yeah, there's 500 there, and god damn it, 13 on the PMIC side. Hey Mr. Howard, Paul, good to see you. Just watching in the background, okay, all good. Well Jason, there's our problem, and it's not a good problem. That's a pretty damn nasty, so yeah. 13 ohms is still pretty weird. I'm almost inclined to try and inject power and see if the PMIC show, but the thing is it most likely is. Like, so be in this area here, I think it was. I'm going to give it an injection, but I have a strong feeling that it's probably just going to highlight that area, but we'll do it. We'll drop 1 bolt in and see what happens. That should make everybody happy-ish. Maybe try 30 volts. I don't think I'm going to do that, Jason. Not after you sent it to me as an important repair. I do have a machine to send. Do I have a machine to send back to you? I think I've got a machine for you still that I've already repaired. Let me just double check too. Oh, it could be someone else's, sorry. No, nothing there. Or did I already send one back to you? I'm lost. Doesn't matter. Focus on the task, Paul. Focus on the task. Right. Get our injection wire. Hey Pedro, good to see you. Slowly recovering from your events. So this is about the biggest pad we've got to work on. I'm going to try my best not to short anything out. My real main concern is snagging it and then ripping that pad out. And if I rip that pad, that's going to be most problematic. I'm kind of hoping it shouldn't be too easily ripped, given that it's a fairly, yeah, it's a chunky rail. Okay. Hey JFix, welcome. I've really got the power supply showing. I do want my cooking board, because obviously my bench is going to be pretty hot at this point. It's already going to be fun enough trying to discern it amongst the latent board heat. Okay, 1.2 volts, 1 amp. We get 200 milliwatts. That's more than ample. We can pick 200 milliwatts if it's in a localized area. So I think we'll accept that as our fate. Probably is a Kmart one. I don't know. I stole it from the wife. She was going to toss it out, and I was like, I'll take that. It's useful because it's a nice, half-inch thick. It's a good size. And Gavin Brown, Third Amendment. No, Third Adam Sent. Okay. Alright, so here we go. The upside is it's not generating too much there. Which is interesting. Hopeful. I don't like that the CPU is getting warm. That's kind of offensive. I think, though, I can see it developing there. Let's push it up to 1.5, 1.6. Have a look at the other side first. But I don't think the other side... Well, we never know. Yeah, nothing showing up on the other side there. You can see a slight enhancement of heat. Yeah, here it comes. I think. Let me go get a blanket. Hey, Draco. Yep, there we go. It's showing up in the middle of the PMIC, I'm afraid. 400 milliwatts, cooking right up. Crikey. What the flip? There we go. Yeah, so that does not look good. Q. I'll put some ISO on it, but I think we're going to find that it's the PMIC warming up. Hey, Paul F. Okay, we still have 340 milliwatts going through. Yeah, there you go, right by that letter S. None of the caps are warming up there. I mean, it's quite possible, yeah. So I guess the question is, what do we do? Now, under normal circumstances, I'd just go, well, I certainly don't have a donor for this one. And I have a suspicion that they are, what do you call it, they do have some sort of programming in them. Try a reball. I don't think a reball's gonna be our answer. It'd be nice if it was, but I really don't think that's gonna be it. So no, Jason, what do you want to do? I mean, I can try hunt that. If it is just an edge cap, we might be able to displace it. I'll see if I've got another board. Like I don't think I've got another dead one. I mean, like a 2098 or this one. My idea would have been, okay, maybe we can have a practice drill and see if we can, dig it out. Unless something like a 1707 might have something similar. Oh, not 1707. What am I thinking? No, I was thinking of 2141. I know it's a different era and everything, but I was thinking maybe they might have a PMIC of similarish style. Sort of hoping the balls are screwed up. I sincerely, greatly would deal. Not imagine that, I'm afraid. Guess the question is the PMIC replaceable? If it is, then that would be the option. This is just RAM. Because we don't know what other damages occurred. Oh, the package is replaceable, is it? Oh, I guess then the next trick is, where do we get one? These boards are not exactly in great supply. So I'm going to say this is a similar-ish kind of PMIC. Pull F only if you're quick at it. Like at this point, technically I'd say no. Like I'd say this has gone beyond economical. By the way, the reason why I'm trying this, I'm just trying to get a concept of what the substructure is like on the chip. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got the top cap, and underneath we've got the blue. So it's kind of like when you get tri-stars and you get some blue tri-stars and you get the black tri-stars. Now the trouble is, getting into this stuff is actually quite difficult. And more than likely it's just going to crack. Notice the lack of cap framing. What do you mean by that, creature? Yeah, there's no realistic way for me to dig into this. Not with a blade like this anyway. I'd need like a diamond abrasion tip. I have got one, but then there are various risks associated with that, such as me getting silicosis. These ones, on the other hand, you can get into. Oh, the other, yeah, the other PMICs surrounded by gang caps, yeah. So these monolith blocks, we normally dig into them quite a fair bit. They're easy enough. This one has silicon there which does not cover a passive. Hey, Riston. Basically, I need to sort of get Jason's sort of approval one way or another. So, but basically, Jason, our situation is we can either find a replacement pick, yeah, right, PMIC, or we can just call it. Because at this point, there's probably nothing I can do. And I certainly haven't seen any of these boards around too frequently. You don't have to answer now anyway. Oh hell, what did I do with that shunt resistor? God damn it. Oh, that was just dumb. I put that shunt resistor down and now it's gone. Let's check the pants. Nope. I mean, it's a pretty big component, but I don't like my chances of finding that one, which is fine. I can just get the same value from somewhere else, probably. I hope. It's a 2890 board, as opposed to a 2098. That shunt, by the way, is a 750 micro ohm shunt. Fell while moving, it did, yes indeed. I'll just clean these pads up. Okay, so they're ready to go when I find a replacement shunt. If it's been sucked into the fume extractor, I doubt it has, but if it has, then that's fine. We can probably retrieve it out of that. It's a reason why there's a filter top on it. But yeah, at this stage, it's a go no further situation. Hey, Mr. Spencer Bentley, good to see you, even though we're not having much success here. Okay, let's stick that on the top. So normally I would have put that shunt into here, but I did not, did I? Nope, I didn't. Hey, Monsieur. Yep, I did not. Oh, little shunt, where art thou? So what job was this? 2456. Just going to update the details of the job. Phone's about to go off because Micro needs his insulin. Hey, Pro Engineer, $5. Probably won't cover the mystery cap, but it should cover an ice cream. I think he meant the mystery shunt, but thank you. Ice cream's good. Wife bought some strawberry ice cream tonight, Häagen-Dazs or whatever it is. So I'll be eager to try that out later. Okay, RD650. RD650 gone missing. PMIC U8100 shorted. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, third, Adam. I'll just have a quick looky-loo, and I'll use my attractive magnet to see if it can draw in some friends. It's got a better magnet somewhere else. Where are they? There we go. Leftover legacy magnets from my modelling days when I used to sell. I used to sell these little square magnets, I think, for about 50 cents a pop. and they were good for canopy retention and things like that. Anyway, the point of this right now... What are you doing? Why are you doing that? I've got to find where this power cable is that's triggering my compass sensor. Because it's triggering me now. Yeah, see that? It's... Actually, that's what it was. It's the magnets that was triggering the compass sensor. Screaming out, "The end of the world is nigh! The North Pole's approaching at a very rapid rate." Okay. The leg. No. No. Okay, we didn't find it there. It must be on the floor. Well, it could be on the floor. I'm going to pick up so many other things on here. More scum. More screws. No shunt. That's funny. I'm going to use a broad tool collector. Tool holder rather. See if that picks it up. Sometimes the neomagnets, they're a little bit too sort of directional specific, and they don't pick up more subtle. Okay, let's see. Screw. Oh, drill tip. Yeah, I remember. Yep. That was me drilling out Macbook 1398 keyboard. Nope, no, I don't know where I don't know where that shunt is. Is that shunt still stuck on the board maybe? It's not so much that it's a 10-cent resistor, it's just that it's probably not the most common value of a shunt around, 750 microohms. And of course I'm just offended at myself. I mean, you can appreciate how I'm offended at myself for having such a silly slip like that. It's kind of like when you lose the anti-rollback EEPROM on a iPhone. You don't want to ever do that if you want to get data back. Alright, fine. Right, I'll just go do micro and I'll be back. Under the sticky shield, maybe. Yeah, I lifted the board and flipped it over, so it could have went anywhere. It'll show up one day, I'm sure. Yeah, while I'm gone, I'll do a search. Let's see. There we go. So we want this 00075. Search, find. That should be all I need. Oh, what? Where the hell is everybody? Yeah, where the hell is everybody? Hey, Mono. What are you doing, buddy? Where's your brother? Where's Micro? Here you go. Yes, do you know where Micro is? In the front room. Ah. Hello. When Hmm. Well, that's a load of bollocks. It makes no sense at all. Actually, it does. That makes a lot of sense. Yep, eating. Holy crap, how many of them got this? Alright, I think we've got enough. 1041, that's A1990. 1206, that looks about right. Well, let's see if the A1990 has it, eh? Ah, gloves. You may think, oh, well, you know, no biggie if you don't wear gloves and you accidentally lick your fingers or something like that. And the singular instances are not a problem, generally speaking, unless it's methyl mercury 3, in which case you're doomed. But it's the cumulative effect, which all too easily can happen. Spray on gloves or dip gloves. Let's see. So according to this is straight onto the CPU. It's right there. I can see that one there. There we go. We've got a cluster of them. This one in particular is that one there. Its little friend is also a 75. What about this one? Okay, all three of these are 75s. Part find feature on Flexboard View. Honestly, sometimes the cost of the product is worth it just for that part find facility. It's kind of funny because I never actually intended for it to be such a feature, as in the sense I never intended to make it a key feature or a selling feature. It was just like, oh, I need to find something one day, and then I did it, and then I was like, hey, that's actually useful. Sales mode enabled, yep. I need to sell another 100 licenses this month would be good. That'd be real nice. Then I can get that night pen enclosure, and then I can get some sleep. And then maybe I can spend some time doing YouTube video editing and get my subscriber counts up so that my business will all of a sudden become better. Because that's the only measure of success. We're in a terrible location though. Good thing this board's already cooked. Come on. Jeez. I'm running at 470 and 70. You can see why we hate doing rework around these areas, because it's just so difficult to get parts up. You really are literally going to burn things before you get them up sometimes. Finally. Everyone's measure of success is different. Precisely. And I think that was the key complaint there. I mean, I think it'd be different if I was going around saying, I've got 40,000, I'm successful. Like, because of the 40,000. Anyway. Move on, Paul. Your life's got better things to do with itself. Come on. Yeah, you could have an underheater there and that will help a lot. Although the setup time is a bit of a pain, particularly when you're just trying to extract parts. It's different if you're going to do like a proper rework of the board. But if you're just pulling a part off, then it's still cheaper in terms of time to just sit there with the hot air gun. Aside from the fact that you might burn things a little bit. Here it comes. Hello, Ghosty. Ghosty, over time you just sort of get used to knowing what parts look like. I think probably one of the trickier things is actually differentiating between a capacitor like that and a filter with this sort of work. A lot of the time a filter can look very similar, and unless you've got a board view you can't always tell. Resistors are generally a bit easier to tell, you know, they're small and flat. Transistors are typically packaged very differently. We're going to leave that one be. Oops, and let Jason report to us what he wants to do when he's ready. Right, we'll get ourselves a different board. Blah, 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 job. That's the word I was after. Alright. I got a 1041 here. 1041? 2142. Yeah, 2141. Beep. Come on. Beep. Thank you. Your job is now being entered into the system. Okay. Alright. Repeating myself as always. 2141s that come in dead. You don't ever power them up. Initially, that is. What you do is you take them apart, inspect the board, check the resistances around the NAND, 2V5 lines, 0V9, 3v3s. You're just looking for a failure on the NAND regulators, because that's almost always where the issue is. And if you power up before you've done that and maybe cleared a short, there's a reasonable chance that you're going to lose that one opportunity you had to prevent data loss and save the machine. Whereas on other jobs, like other machines, you just plug the power in, see what's going on. That's not a big problem. But these ones have a signature issue that afflicts in such a way that it's probably a better path to not power up. Okay, we are running into issues with our rendering, are we? We're good. This flex board view sucking up power. It's one thing that I'm not happy about with flex board view is just how much CPU it sucks. To be fair, it is a single CPU process. It does not fork out to multiple processors. So it will push one process to the max, but it's not going to spread itself around. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Alright, immediately this is interesting. We have dust in the fan assemblies. We don't really have dust in the ducts. It does not look like anyone's disassembled it. There's the tab here has been lifted ever so slightly, but it doesn't feel like it's been opened up. The Wi-Fi connectors have not been popped. For all I know, that could have just snagged. I was taking the pan. Oh no, it comes off that way. Yeah. Okay, let's get our continuity checks. Someone used compressed air, spun the fan 100,000. Yeah, they're making a ducted fan system. Okay, so we do our checks for shorts. 600's okay. 600, okay. 600, 900. Open, good. And this is where the short usually lives. And there it is. And unfortunately that's on the 2v5 side, which means it's on the NAND side, which, yeah, this is why you don't power them up. Now, normally the voltage regulator should inhibit anything happening, like it should sense that there is a short there and sort of shut things down immediately. But you never know how bad your luck's going to be. It might be a case of the damage is actually on the feedback side. So instead of it only giving 2.5 volts, the feedback's kind of knocked around a bit and starts pushing 6 volts into it. So yeah, to be fair, in most cases, if you have that situation, the NANDs are probably already dead. So here's hoping we can get a win here. The big test is going to be to see what the visual state of the voltage regulator is. If it's got a glossy hot spot on it, then 99% chance it's no good. We'll still give it a go, but if you see something like that, it's start calling in the coffin dancers. Hey, 10-minute tech. Gavin Brown, Fox Laser. If it's just data recovery, what happens to the Macbook? Is it a bin job, or do you ever get to... Okay, that is a good question. If it's customer to me, like if I'm dealing directly with the owner of the laptop, then yes, sometimes they will offer a trade, or if it's a machine I'm looking for a chassis for, I'll say, look, I'll give you a couple $100 for it, whatever. Unfortunately for me, a lot of this work comes in through other businesses, other repair shops, and they send it through for me to get fixed. So they obviously then talk to their customer and say, hey, it wasn't fixable. Hey, do you want to leave it here for parts? And they get it. So I lose out in that respect, which is another reason why I started to stop offering discounts on B2B, because a lot of the things that you normally would gain by doing a direct to customer, you lose as a B2B. You don't get the chance to pick up possibly useful chassis and parts. And that does actually make up a fair number of things, because I'm not at the point at the moment, I'm not rich enough to go out and say, oh, I'll just go and buy the couple of the latest Macbooks, so I've got parts on hand and I can do all the diode mode values and things like that. I mean, I would love to be able to do that, but I'm just not there yet. I'm getting there, but not yet. Other things to do first. But it's also sufficiently common that you do get a customer come in and they've got a reasonably new machine that's dead because of whatever reason, and then that gives you an opportunity to acquire one of the latest machines at a fairly good price. It's not that you're trying to rip the person off. I mean, it's essentially worthless to them. You write up an insurance claim, and it's ethically correct because it is dead and they were covered under insurance, and I just really fucked up all this time I've been talking. This is a good reason why I use plastic spudger. We didn't disconnect the battery. Now, fortunately, I said using plastic spudger, all this sort of stuff, the chances of anything going wrong were pretty much zero. Hey, Catherine. This is one of the dangers of doing live streams as well, is that you can get distracted. But as I said, the machine is off. It's not actually running any active power. The battery management system would have disconnected that. It's an original battery, which means the sys request line will ensure that there isn't any power coming through, as opposed to a third-party battery which may or may not honor that. And if you get one that does not honor it, it means then the full voltage is, or at least a reasonable voltage is present at all times, which is why they often will self-discharge faster. Like when you're not using them and you come back and for some reason it's already discharged itself after 3 days. Direct from any means of advice isn't completely sharp. Yeah, you got a better chance of it actually being viable, unless I've been to other stores. Was that me or was that a noise outside? Can't tell if it was my whistling through my mouth. Guess I'll find out. Okay, so this is our damage area where we've got the short. Have a look and see if we can find anything. Okay, I think I've already found the cap, but I just want to point out a few things. So this is what I was talking about with regards to the regulator not having any glossy hot spots on it. So that one there, it looks like it's straight out of packaging, no big issue. The actual fault is this cap here. You can see there's a crack on it just here. And of course, the fact that it's got a hotspot end on it, where it's been cooked up, is kind of advantageous too. There's always these fairy wings in there. I don't know if you can see that crack. I think you can see the crack on the video. So in this particular case, I should be able to just pop that off the short will be cleared, the machine should boot. But there's more things to check as well. I've been pondering on the normal process that I have where I replace the regulator as well. And for these, when they're in this sort of condition, I'm somewhat disinclined to do it anymore. Because that crack looks more like it was just cracked on its own. There wasn't actually stuff going under the regulator or corrosion building up or anything like that. And I'm weighing up the risks. That's the thing. Right now I'm going across the board, simply looking for any other issues that may be secondary. It's not entirely uncommon to have a second thing developing elsewhere. Kind of like when you go to the dentist and you're complaining about one tooth and then the dentist fishes around. He says, well, actually, you got this other one here that isn't too far off. So we'll deal with them both in the one sitting. And I guess that's what I'm doing here, seeing if I can find any other mischievous teeth. Interesting. Why is that there? Oh, we've got one on this side. It's interesting. So I don't know what capacity this machine is, but it's got one single NAND on the other wing. So we've got 4 on this wing and only 1 on this one. I hope I don't hate my life after this. Risk evaluation is a fun thing. God damn it. Oh shit. Sorry, excuse the language. I just realized I'm running at much higher than my normal rate here. I was wondering why that all of a sudden started reflowing vastly sooner than I expected. If I make mistakes, I tend to lament about it quite a bit. 700, we're nice and healthy there now. Okay. Yeah, it just ramped up way too fast, and I was like, what? That shouldn't be ready to come off. I think there's a bit more apprehension at the moment because I am playing with a new flux. And so, yeah, you sort of question things a little bit more. It sort of falls. It's like what I'm apprehensive about when people ask for simple features to be changed in Flexboard View, or just small stuff. And technically, yeah, it's small stuff. And theoretically, yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult. But almost every time you go in and you make a modification as such like that, even a simple one, it will usually have some sort of knock-on effect that you don't realize until a week or two later. Kiwi Chess, this is Tim Herman's Flux. You got to be careful with these parts here, particularly these resistors, as they form part of the feedback network. It's one thing to mess around with the chip itself, but if you mess up that feedback network, then no matter what you do with that chip, you're going to kill your board. Creature, I've mentioned this before. I've got a few thousand left to go before I can switch over to the new ones. I'm just using up what I've got. Alright, so we want pin 1 here. So we're on the bottom side of the board, bottom left, that's correct. I like having the mini view because I can see, okay, the CPU, that's the top side of the board, GPU, CPU, this is the bottom side of the board. So I know I'm in the right area because I've had a couple of close calls before. Yeah, you can move the minimap around to wherever you want. Like you can pick either of the corners, or you can either of the corners, or you can have it free floating. There's lots of adjustable parameters. Definitely finding I'm having a double flux. Don't have the confidence at the moment. Yes. Okay, that's all good. Definitely no frickin' squeezage out here. Always good to check the underside of the board after you've done that replacement. If you start getting squeezage out here, then you've got problems. I think we were just freaking borderline there, which is a little bit unnerving for me. I don't like that happened. Nothing on the top. And this is what I was talking about with regards to risk evaluation in terms of, yeah, like having mixed in with the right men. Okay, what's going on there is that I did try that out, and it has issues in terms of the way it behaves with the rest of the menu. It's one of those things where you're right, that's sort of the concept that you would think would be ideal, but where the problem comes in is when you're rotating it, and the rotated view, because of the different aspect ratio, I should say the non-square aspect ratio, it makes the rest of the right-hand menu bar bump up, bump down. So it actually becomes a bit of a pain. Now there are ways around that. You can either not rotate the minimap to match, or you can shrink the aspect, shrink the scale so that it doesn't change the vertical offset. So yeah, there are different things. But in the end, I really didn't find it to be nicer. But I mean, it's just one of those things that you go through when you're working on this stuff. You go, yeah, I mean, I thought exactly what you thought. It's like, yeah, it's going to look better if I do it this way. And then you try it out and you're like, it doesn't quite. Now, to be fair, I could have just left it implemented and leave it up to the user to decide. But at some point you sort of go, yeah, I want to kind of not have too many adjustable parameters in this damn program. Already it's crazy number of adjustable colors and thingy-jigs in the program. It's almost like you have to have a degree just to set it up. Ah, come on, man. I'll save you, boy. What are you doing? These tips are getting a bit too short now. Hey, Mum and Hassan. First time at your stream. Well, welcome along. Alright, so we'll let that cool down a little bit. We'll check the resistances, make sure that those NANDs are still sitting at around about the 600 plus. If they are, then we try it and hope we don't get any emanating smoke, because that's always a bad thing apparently. I haven't got a can of Magic Smoke left. I've used up all my Magic Smoke cans, so yeah, I can't inject any more if it escapes. I've not yet set my flexboard view to Vim motions. :WQ, :WQA, escaped :WQA. Okay, so here we go. Now the resistance is going to be higher because it's warm. That's normal. Lower rather. Okay, so 7800 climbing, that's good, that's what you want. I'll just check PP bus to make sure it doesn't have any affliction on it. It's 800 rising, that's good too. Okay, so really at this point there's not much more you can test. You just have to put it in and cross those fingers. So what I might do is just go brush out some of that excess fluffage. Won't be too long. It's not perfect, but it is better. We'll just put the extractor on and then blast some compressed air through it. Right. Alright, all good. Being 2141, we've got to tape some flexes down if you want to actually retain your sanity while you're reassembling these. You can try to do it without the tape. Just record yourself doing it because it is pretty comical. You keep racing back and forth, resetting one flex while the other one pops back out. It's like, yep. If you like to drive yourself insane, then don't use tape. I mean, it's already fiddly enough with tape. Where's my plastic spudger? Hey, Digital Labs, when did you sneak in? I always thought these were such tremendously annoying, long-winded rebuilds to put these things back together. And the truth is they are. They are definitely long-winded, annoying to rebuild, but in comparison to the new MacBook 15-inch Airs, they're an absolute dream. With the new 15 Airs, you've got to take out the speakers, you've got to do all sorts of crazy stuff to get to the mainboard assembly, and then you've got to split that assembly because it's just like iPad Air, pressed metal plate over the top. And it is not that easy to cleanly separate that thing. You always worry that you're going to tear off something or do damage to the board. There's a lot of opportunities for things to go wrong. And overall, it makes these 2141s seem like an absolute dream walk in the park. Okay, clearly this is not the correct tool to use to clip antenna connectors back in. You have a slip and it's not much fun. Fortunately, it seems like because the RF needs to keep away from other noise sources, those antenna connectors are actually generally a fairly broad distance away from other delicate components. Always remember to plug the screen in. That is probably the most common way of inducing panic in myself, is that I forget to plug that screen in. So I power up the machine and it's all black and I'm like, ah! It's because I forgot the screen. Oh, the old Surface devices, yes, they were terrible. I think I've probably handled only about 7 or 8 Surfaces. And of all those, I think I only had one success. And even though that was a success, by the time it was reassembled and everything, you were like, why did we even bother? Okay, here we go. Smoke test. Let's hope not. $20 immediately, just as long as it doesn't keep restarting. 600, 700. Okay, we're ramping good here. We're sort of past the window where it would normally be oscillating. We haven't got a bong yet. Oh, okay, there we go. Computer restarted. Cool. Yeah, Apple logo. That's what we want. This one didn't bong, but I think it's probably by... Okay, so we've got 0% charge on it. Let's just watch it for a little bit. It looks like it is charging. You can see on the USB-C meter, you can see it's slowly ramping up, so that indicates that it is interacting with the battery properly. By the way, don't forget, I do have a Discord channel, so if you want to pop in Discord after this, that's fine. I usually mostly discussing the FlexBoard View software and things like that. Well, that's approaching 85 watts now. Yeah, you want it to be charging, because otherwise you go, where is that 85 watts going? Let's see. I just want to see it click up to 1%. Yeah, that's good. Posting pet pictures as well, yes, of course. Discord link, actually, yeah, what is the... It's funny, it's in FlexBoard View. Like, I actually have it here. Join Discord server. Oh, there you go. Oh, you can't see it. Let's see. Here it is. HTTPS, fieldaniels.com. FlexBV5, Discord.png. The reason why I've done it as a link like that is because if I ever have to change the invite, then that URL is constant and you don't have to worry about the invite. It's in the description. Oh, okay. Come on, give us the 1%. Mind you, 4.5 amps, almost 20 volts. Tomorrow, hopefully I should get my 140 watt USB-C power brick. That's the biggest one Apple has at the moment. And I've also got the 240 watt rated cabling, so it'd be very interesting to see how the voltage dip compares. We should see slightly less, like where this is 19.73 at 4.5. I'm hoping we'll see more like 19.9 at the same sort of current. Hey, Victor Young, welcome. A little bit on the tail end of this, but I do apologise for that. Unfortunately, I do have to get work done and move on. And Nickel T, seems like I've got a little more than 5 people tonight. How many of you are here because of the Northridge fiasco? It is getting late, yeah, and I've still got all my other administration. Okay, we got 1% up here on the screen now, so I'm going to say this is all good to go. It's fixed. Worst case scenario, person's going to be able to get their data, but considering how relatively clean this machine was in terms of dust, okay, there was dust in the fans, but it was actually fairly clean. The board itself, it didn't fail because of corrosion issues. It failed just simply because these MLCC caps fail. They just do that. And believe me, I am very thankful for the fact that MLCC ceramics are so well used, widely used everywhere, because they keep us in business. Those things alone, if you just could only get jobs that were cracked caps, or you only made money on the ones that were, you'd be doing fine. If you toss away all the bad ISLs, toss away the bad PMix, all that sort of thing, stick with the caps, you're still going to make money. So, yeah. And I mean, that's the business side of things. That's where you're sort of looking to keep the job simple, keep them turning over, make your margin, still have enough room in terms of your time schedule to be able to work on other projects as well. And, that was the thing that Northridge was kind of alluding to at the start of his video, and of course, as we know, it just went to shit after that when he got to about the 13-minute mark for no real great reason. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and if you're on the Discord, I'll see you in a few minutes. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next stream, which might be tomorrow, might be a few days from now, who knows. Subscribe and find out. Until then, you all take care. Thank you again. I'll catch you on the next one.